I think a lot of it comes down to having a balance though. And I think, again, I keep going around circles here, but it relates back to what I was saying about competing and coming out of that, because I like to have a balance in my life, and I think everybody should. And that's what I would preach to my clients as well. So when they're struggling with motivation and they're struggling with their own progress, I don't want them to get so all consumed in this training life. And I think the fitness scene can be a little bit like that, where it's kind of like all or nothing. And I don't like that. I think this is the conclusion that I've come to lately in my own life. I actually don't like that.
Yeah.
I like to be able to, go for dinner. And this is exactly what I say to my clients. They should be able to go for dinner. They should be able to enjoy their lives. They still can make progress alongside that, and will. But they don't have to be so laser focused on this whole like diet culture and training and just not enjoying themselves.
Hi everyone, welcome to the MaxWellness podcast, where each week we chat with athletes, industry experts and influencers who share their journey, tactical tips and lessons learned on how to maximize your wellness and smash your goals. So today we are joined by Philippa Fleming, MSc. She's an online trainer and nutrition coach who is helping women build their bodies, confidence and strength without any of the nonsense. I wanted to swear there, but we're not going to. Without any of the nonsense. Hello, how are we doing today, my lovely?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. It's so nice to be on the show.
How are you feeling today? I'm trying to get in the habit of saying to people, how are you feeling today? Because I think we've discussed this a few times on this podcast. When you say like, how are you doing? It's just very generic. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, I'm feeling energetic. I'm good to go.
Has it been productive?
Yeah.
I have to say, I looked at your, again, stalking. I'm going to let everyone know I've stalked the Instagram. I saw your stories today where you're talking about doing the photo shoot.
Yeah.
So putting together a group of people, women?
Yeah, exactly. So I tend to coach women. So I thought in the new year it was so good to do a photo shoot challenge, just to give everyone something to aim for, a group of girls to do it together, and we can all just go to a shoot at the end of the training block and just have a really good time. So
I'm absolutely down for that.
Yeah, definitely.
I did the little swipe of the heart eyes and I'm like, I'm involved. You know what it is? I need something to work towards, and I think that's a wicked idea. And I love the fact that you're bringing like different people together as well.
Yeah, I just think it'd be so good. I'm exactly the same as everyone else. If I don't have a specific goal, I just get carried away, I get bored. So it's nice to do something like that.
Love this. Also, I'm going to tell you a random story which stems from the stalking. So I was doing a program for one of my girls today, just doing like a update of her programs. We're change. She's like, I keep spending money. I was just like, we all do, and specifically obviously on gym wear. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was saying, I buy a lot of stuff off Shein or whatever the hell it's called. So I buy a lot of stuff off there. I was like, 9%, it's really good. And she's like, oh, one of the girls I follow on Instagram, she just had some leggings on there. And I was like, wait, I feel like I've recognized this story she's telling. She's like these marble ones. I was like, was it Philippa Fleming by any chance? She's like, yeah, it was. I was like, I'm interviewing her tonight. I was like, what a small world.
That's hilarious. It's honestly the best website. It's so hit and miss, though, I won't lie. But if you get a good thing, it's a really good thing.
It is. But I was more gas bag, and I was just like, basically, she's going to be my mate after tonight. We're having a chat. We're going to be good.
Yeah.
We're going to be good. So, aside from obviously me stalking you, which I've said twice now, which is really weird, I apologise, and talking about gym leggings, because that's not what we're here to do. Obviously, we want to get started from the very beginning. We're going to talk about your journey. So first and foremost, obviously, I gave you your letters at the beginning. So you have your bachelor's in exercise, sports and exercise, and your master's in nutrition. Now, you also did the UK BFF, so that's competing, right?
I actually did PCA, so different fed, but similar thing.
As far as I'm concerned, same. Oh, no, it's not the same, but same. You were competing, you had to train hard. You had to watch what you eat in order to get on stage and put on the fake tan and the jazzy bikini. So what came first? Did you start your studies and then you decided to go into that? Which was it, like a chicken and an egg situation? We're not too sure. Was it merged, or was there an obvious one that came first and that pushed you to do the other?
Yeah, so I started at uni first. I ended up competing when I was doing my masters, which was a bad idea, just an FYI. Trying to study at the same time as doing that was not the one. But no, it's always something that I thought, you know, I really want to try that. I really want to do it. And it just so ended up being in my master's year, which I'm really glad about, because I had, you know, all my gym friends at uni and they all sort of supported me through it, which was really nice.
So what made you study exercise and sports and nutrition? What pushed you to do that in the beginning?
I got really into going to the gym as a teenager. I basically, long story short, started off really, really skinny. So my interest in the gym was always to get stronger and just like stop being a beanpole, basically. So I started going into the gym for that reason and just absolutely loved it. So it just sort of went from there, to be honest.
And then you decided to compete, and you said that was a bad idea. So I'm assuming that was because of the prep and studying.
Yeah, definitely. So I qualified for finals that year, just as I was starting my masters. And if anyone has competed before, you'll know that you just have absolutely zero energy. I was really struggling to concentrate on anything I was learning during the first semester of my masters. So I pretty much had to relearn that entire semester, I think.
No.
So it was not good for me. Some people are the opposite, and they think like they can have this super concentration, like they can do everything so well. That wasn't me.
Honestly, my clients know just when I've mixed breakfast and they're like, Hannah, go and get a protein bar. I'm like, yeah, it's probably a good idea. So how the hell someone actually studies was prep? Where were you finding the time?
Do you know what? I think that was probably the hardest thing, because I remember bouncing between the gym to do my cardio, to my lectures, to train, to go to labs, and then to go for a walk in the evening and do my client work alongside it. I remember just the days were so long.
So you say client work, so you were training people then as well?
Yeah, so only a little bit, just alongside it. Whilst I was at uni, that's sort of where my career now has kind of stemmed from. I always loved it, so I'm glad I got to go down that route full time. But I always just had a few clients on the side whilst I was at uni, which was always good.
And how was your mental health during that?
It was okay.
She's like, basically, I had a nervous breakdown. Like I said, because I struggle if I've just missed breakfast. So the thought of having to, what it would be like for me to starve myself all the time. That's how I view these things. That's why I could never do it. I have so much admiration for people that can have that much focus. Funny, I just couldn't.
Yeah. Funny you say that, because that's how I sort of see it now. I personally wouldn't do it again. I'm very glad I did it. Don't get me wrong. It really pushed me to a whole level that I didn't know I had. But yeah, I don't like being hungry. I'll say it straight. I really don't. I don't like it at all.
I love food so much. It's honestly because it's your social life as well, right? Especially if you're at uni, because uni, it's just party after party. That again, I didn't go to university, but that's from the outside in. That's what it looks like. So it must have affected your whole social life as well, right?
It did to an extent, yeah. I mean, my group of friends at uni weren't really like out kind of, because obviously I was doing sports, so everyone was kind of like a certain way inclined anyway. And definitely whilst we were doing our masters, I think everyone was just so focused on studying, so it probably was the best year to have done it rather than, you know, at the beginning of uni. But
Freshers Week, absolutely not.
Definitely, I don't like saying no to like going for dinner and like going for drinks or whatever. So it was challenging from that perspective, but I'm glad I'm doing it now.
In hindsight, I know you said you wouldn't do it again. Would you, in hindsight, if you could look back at your younger self, would you say, don't do that? Or do you think, you know what, it was a good challenge?
Yeah, no, I'm very glad I did it. I think it's one of those things I always say to people, I don't think you know if you enjoy it until you've done it. I think it's very hard to tell someone what it's like and what it entails without actually putting yourself through it. And I think a lot of people come out the back of it and go, they either love it or they hate it. For me, I'm glad I did it. I really don't have any regrets for having done it, but I wouldn't do it again. Do
you get a lot of women coming to you now asking you to train them for competitions?
Yeah, I actually don't take any competitors. I think it's such a dangerous thing to do. And unless you unless that's your very specific area and you have a hell of a lot of knowledge on that certain thing, I think it's a really dangerous thing to coach someone to prep for a show like that. I see a lot of people do it though, and it does genuinely scare me a little bit when I know that that particular coach doesn't have enough knowledge in that particular area.
Just out of interest, why is that? Because again, I'm a personal trainer, but that stuff is alien to me.
Yeah.
So obviously I had one of my friends a couple of weeks ago called Clifton, and we were talking about specifically about women's menstrual health and stuff like that. And I hear a lot about when women are competing that their menstrual cycle will just stop because they're basically emaciated. They've starved themselves. So their body is just
literally
holding on to whatever it can.
Exactly. I mean, your body's just trying to conserve as much energy as it can possibly conserve at that point. You're so lean. You're trying to tap into this ridiculous level of body fat towards the end that quite often myself, well, I actually don't know if I lost my period because I was on the coil at the time, so I didn't get any.
Right.
But I would have thought I would have done. Like, my body isn't happy at that level of body fat. And I know a lot of girls come out of a prep season and really struggle to get their menstrual cycles back, which is obviously quite scary in some circumstances. But it's very, very common.
That's great. So then obviously from there, because your before and afters, obviously once you go on your Instagram, people see your before and afters are crazy. So I'm assuming once you came out of that, is that when you were like, cool, a bit more, what was your mentality coming out of the competition?
So I think my mentality coming out of it was actually very different to a lot of people. Yeah. I think a lot of girls come out of competing and they really struggle to put body fat on because they really, they love being shredded. They have a little bit of a difficult relationship with food. For me, I really didn't like being that lean. I really didn't feel good in myself being that lean. So I was very ready to come out of it and just eat and enjoy my life and, get stronger again. So I think I was quite naive to it in some ways. I don't remember finding it particularly hard coming out of a prep. And in hindsight, when I look at that, I don't think I really knew an awful lot about it when I was coming out of it. I know a lot of people that really, really struggle with it. And for some reason, I just blindly came out of my breath and I was absolutely
eating absolutely everything. Give me all the food.
It was great.
Let me live my best life. I mean, if you started training because you didn't want to be a beanpole to start with, then I guess that would actually kind of make sense.
I think that's
just like, give me the booty.
I think me getting that lean took me back to the whole, I feel really skinny again. And I didn't like that. So for me, it was very easy for me to just come out and go, I'm just going to eat and get strong and enjoy training again. And it was as simple as that in my head, really.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that one. So I watched also a video recently that you did. Was it for USN where you're talking about training? And because you're a USN athlete as well, right?
Yeah.
Where you were talking about specifically training with your mental health. And I also watched another video that I absolutely loved when you were about to literally do hip thrusters. And you were there just like legs in front of you, bar over with a hell of a lot of weight on it. And you were literally like FML. And you were talking to someone and you were just like, sorry, I'm doing this because you were sitting down on the floor. I'm trying to do a reenactment. And you were literally like, I'm just not in it. Like, you see, you're just, and I swear to God, even though I'm a personal trainer, I also teach a lot of classes and I love teaching classes. I love being there with everyone. I love that I get to interact with loads of people at the same time. Even as a PT, and I try and explain to my clients, I struggle with training. I don't know that I ever go into a training session. I'm like, yes to training. I've never been that person. I know I need to do it. I've been a dancer all my life. I know I need to do it so I don't get injured. I know I need to do it for postural reasons. I know I need to do it to correct imbalances. No matter how much I tell myself I need to do this, I'm like, I drag myself through training sessions. So seeing that, I know you're not that person because I know you said you love training, but that one video, I was like, okay, at least she has her days as well. But to be fair, you had a hell of a lot of weight on that bar. So the bar was bending. I was like, yes for this, yes for the hip thrusters. But going back to that, so I want to, first of all, I've gone on a bit of a roundabout there. How do you talk about training and mental health with your clients? How do you also motivate them with their training? And how do you motivate yourself? That's a lot of questions in one. Chris is going to watch this back and absolutely cuss me out. So let's first of all talk about the training and mental health first, because I thought that video was fantastic. So I'd like you to kind of share that, if you don't mind. with the listeners of Max Wellness as well?
Yeah, of course. So what I was talking about in that video was the reasons why I train, I think. So I started training, as I mentioned earlier, because I was very skinny. There wasn't so much around women going to the gym back then when I started training. So I was the lone wolf in the gym. I remember just being surrounded by guys. But I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. And I think a lot of people miss the qualities that come along with training when you just look at it as an outsider. It takes, it takes dedication and patience and all these qualities that transfer into other elements of your life. So for me, I found that training really helped with things like my relationships and my work. And it generally just makes me a better person to be around, I think, nice person. And yeah, I find it really, really helps me to be in kind of my space, to do my thing when I'm training and to switch off from everything else. So I think it's more or less what I was saying in the video, but I think a lot of it comes down to having a balance though. And I think, again, I keep going around circles here, but it relates back to what I was saying about competing and coming out of that, because I like to have a balance in my life, and I think everybody should. And that's what I would preach to my clients as well. So when they're struggling with motivation and they're struggling with their own progress, I don't want them to get so all consumed in this training life. And I think the fitness scene, it can be a little bit like that, where it's kind of like all or nothing. And I don't like that. I think this is the conclusion that I've come to lately in my own life. I actually don't like that.
Yeah.
I like to be able to, go for dinner. And this is exactly what I say to my clients. They should be able to go for dinner. They should be able to enjoy their lives. They still can make progress alongside that, and will. But they don't have to be so laser focused on this whole like diet culture and training and just not enjoying themselves.
It's not sustainable.
I've said like a million things right now, and I am aware of that. But
no, you're not. But this is the kind of stuff that people need to hear, because they will see people online, and Instagram, socials is the worst of it, because you'll look at, especially when you're someone that does fitness and that's what you're promoting on your page. It's obviously great because you're giving, this isn't you specifically, I'm just talking about generally people that promote fitness, is that it does seem like that's their entire life, and they don't want to show people that they are going out for meals, and they have gone and they went on a slight bender at the weekend and had a lot of drinks. I mean, for God's sake, a lot of people before they go on stage, right, they'll have a shot of alcohol to dehydrate them even more. So it's the stuff like that. And I like the fact that you promote the balance. And the other thing that I loved that you said was about the transferable skills. Because you're right, it does allow you. Because on the days where I'm like, I cannot be bothered, I will still go in and I'll get the work done. But again, that allows me to then transfer that to other things in my life. I'll be sat there, I'm like, I can't do this. And I remember I read a book which I love, which is the 5-second rule. And it's literally talking about count down from 5, never count up, count down from 5. So then when you get to 1, you then have to get up and just get ish done. Just get up, stand up, get it done. It's an incredible book. I loved that book. And it just means, and that's what I loved when you said about the transferable skills, because you're right, it is. It just does allow you, like, you know what? I can push through this. I can get stronger. It's all about those small little increments. It's that small progressive overloads, and you can apply that to life as well. It doesn't just have to be your training. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing rule. And I know, again, I've spoken about this in the past, so I'm really bad because I'm really bad at failing. I hate failure. I don't like failing. So I'm like, cool, if I am going to fail, I'm just not going to do it. But what I don't look at is the small, little, tiny journeys. And that, again, training has helped me with that recently, because I've become a lot more focused. Is those little, small progressive overloads that you do does allow you, yes, there might be little failures, but those little failures are easier to get over than if you look at it as one big failure. So I loved that you, 100%. And I love that it said that. And the other thing I love about your page is that you as you've just touched on, you very much talk about balance and stuff like that. And you give incredible advice, like incredible. And I got really bored of doing that on Instagram. So I found that I would get not a million, because I don't have that many followers, but again, overloading. I'd get loads of likes for like a selfie. And I'm like, this selfie is doing absolutely nothing for your life. I'd get loads of engagement. But then I'd post up an entire workout. And this is back in the day when you had to do the whole edit, because it would only let you do a minute video. You couldn't upload multiple videos. You'd have to then put in all the spaces because it wouldn't let you just return down. And I'm doing all this and I get no engagement. And I'm like, I'm giving you lot gold here. What I felt like, I'm giving you gold. Why are you not engaging with me on this incredible workout that I'm giving you? But you'll give me 1 million likes or a pointless selfie. How do you deal with that? Because obviously you're incredibly intelligent. And the good thing is you post this great content, and I feel like you actually get a lot of engagement on that. So how did you get around that? Or is it just a case of I've got to post the selfies as well?
I find Instagram very frustrating at times. I think sometimes I'll put out some really good content, like you said, or edit a whole workout and it just falls flat on the ground. And I'm like, oh. So I don't think anybody finds it straightforward. What I found has actually done better for me is just writing longer captions and posting photos. That tends to do better. I don't know why, because everyone always says videos should get more engagement, but they don't. So I don't understand. I don't know. But yeah, I just always think as long as I'm putting out content that someone somewhere finds useful, then that's my goal at the end of the day. Because
you put out something honestly, like in terms of like the little education, especially nutrition stuff, because I love seeing that stuff. Like I love it. And your videos are honestly, they're amazing. The way you film them is amazing. Like it's honestly, yeah, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. There was a reason why I was going to ask you that. Bear with me. Sorry, I've got everything written down on my phone. I forgot to put a timer on my phone so it doesn't come out. That's what I was going to say. So off of that, so your great videos is something that, again, I noticed that you spoke a lot about was intuitive eating. And again, this goes back to the balance earlier. Yeah. So talk to me about that, because again, that ranges from PT to PT. You'll get some PTs that are like, you have to calorie count. And again, with me, I struggle because sometimes I'm like, I need them to calorie count because I need them to understand what their calories look like, but I don't want them doing it forever.
No, exactly. Exactly. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Like that's what I will always try and do with my clients. I'll start them off tracking just so that they can benefit from that educational aspect of that. Yeah. They can understand what's in their food. They can be able to eyeball portion sizes better if they just do that for a period of time. Also, from my perspective, if they have very specific goals, it's obviously easier if we can have them tracking. But that being said, I always try to introduce intuitive, even if it's one day intuitive a week, and build up from there, because at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be tracking constantly. We should be able to eyeball food and not let it worry us. And I think that's where it all goes a bit wrong, when people stop tracking and they suddenly think, I don't know how to do this anymore, which is worrying. I think like that's not what humans are supposed to do. We're supposed to be able to follow our hunger cues and know when to eat and know when to stop. And I think it's really important to kind of ingrain that back into people's lives as well.
So I know it sounds ridiculous, but how do you teach them that? Because of diet culture, there's always this rule to follow. If you're on the Cambridge, I don't know what is Cambridge, you can't eat carbs. If you're doing this, you can't eat protein, or you can just eat protein, or let's cut out fat. So this diet culture, there's always some sort of rule that you need to follow. So I know it sounds silly, and I know, yes, we're saying intuitive eating, and you're right, it should be intuitive. But also, I feel like it's something that you actually have to teach people. So how do you go about setting them out on that journey?
Yeah, so what I'd say firstly is just go back to the basics. Nutrition is actually very straightforward, right? So on a daily basis, you want to look to get in 3 or 4 protein servings. That's your starting point. You want to then get some micronutrients in throughout the day. Everything else kind of comes down to mindful eating. So you need to kind of figure out that it's your appetite or it's true hunger. So appetite is things like emotional cravings, like have you seen a food and now you want it, for one.
All the time.
I'm guilty of that literally all the time. Are you emotional and that's why it's made you want food? Or are you genuinely hungry? And if you're genuinely hungry because if someone had chicken and rice in front of you, you actually want that, right? Because you're hungry, you just want food. Like that's it. It's not a specific food that you want. It's not, an emotional cue that's made you want this food. So it comes back to being mindful about your choices. And, if you do think I'm being mindful and I want that piece of cake, then that's fine. Like that's a mindful choice. Like, it comes back down to you at the end of the day. And quite often with people, when I get them to do intuitive eating, I start with just one meal a day, and then it can work up to, like, it can be quite overwhelming, I think, for some people, especially if you've been tracking for a really long time. But, you know, it's a start for people, and then we can work up to a day, and then 2 days a week, and then even 3 if they want to continue.
And how do you manage them? Because I know, again, I can only go from my own perspective with a lot of my clients. There's a guilt that is attached to food. There's a massive guilt, and trying to teach them not to have that guilt is actually quite difficult. And I can imagine that must crop up a lot when you're pushing women to eat intuitively. So again, how do you counteract that?
I think a lot of it is a learning process for themselves as well. Quite often it's like they'll be scared of eating a particular food because for some reason in their head they think there's going to be a huge repercussion of that from that. And I've been in the same boat myself, and I think it's a process that I've been through myself from when I was younger as well. So quite often it's a case of getting them to eat it and then realizing nothing actually happens. When nothing happens, you just go back to normal. You might have a meal and you might hold on to water for a couple of days, and then you're back to baseline. No issues.
But it's teaching women that as well, because all of a sudden they eat like one meal and they're like, oh my God, I'm so fat. I'm like, you cannot put that on that amount of fat overnight. No. You just can't. It's water retention. And it's teaching them that as well. Because I say to I say it to my men as well, because I train both. I'm like, just don't have the food in the house. Don't have the food in the house, and then you're not going to be pushed, like your brain's not going to, like, as you said, you see, I never even thought of it like that, because I'm definitely that person. I see something.
I'm as well.
And I'm, like, in my house, I have loads of sweets because I don't really particularly like sweets. So I'll put sweets there. So I'm like, if I have people come over, I'm like, cool, help yourselves to sweets. I know I'm not going to eat them. But I say to my clients, just don't have the food in your house. Now, if you're sat there and you're like, you know what, I really want a Snickers. I don't know why I picked Snickers. That's the driest chocolate bar ever. I love Snickers though. If you're like, cool, I really want a Snickers. And then 10 minutes later, you can be bothered to take your bum outside of your house, go to the shop, purchase that Snickers. I'm like, you know what, I have the Snickers. You obviously really wanted it. Especially my female clients, especially when it's coming up to that time of the month. Your body just craves it. There's nothing you can do about it. And I say to them, look, body heat's gone up. You can actually afford to consume an extra 100 calories a day. You're fine. Have the damn Snickers. It's not, I'm really fixed on the Snickers now. It's not going to be the end of the world. But again, it's difficult to teach. It's really difficult to teach that. And I think people really underestimate it. I think that's the hard, we all know with clients, food is always the hardest journey. And trying to teach people that and to get them not feeling bad about it is it's difficult. It's really tough.
I agree. And especially with women as well. Like we're just so, we're told all the time that we're not supposed to eat very much. And that's a really big thing to get past for a lot of my clients and myself as well. Like I've been through the whole process myself. So it's just crazy. I just think it's crazy what we've been sort of taught to do.
So you train, you say that you train, do you only train women, or would you take on men as well? Or do you specifically just say, you know what?
I do take on guys, I take on both, but primarily women,
And what made you make that decision, just out of interest?
I just think because of my own experiences, I think I can relate to a lot of women a lot more. I think a lot of women are naturally kind of drawn to that because I can relate to it. And I think it's always good. Like I'm more than happy coaching guys, and I've been coached by a guy myself, but I think I'm coached by a woman now, and it's quite nice to just be able to relate. I think it's just be able to relate.
100%. And again, obviously we're getting them to weight train and stuff like that. So going back to the question that I asked earlier, because I realized I didn't come back to it, in regards to the mental health and the training, how do you get them comfortable? Because again, it's intimidating when you walk into a gym, especially a strength gym, where it is predominantly weights, and there's a ton of men in there, and you're just like, and there's always men wanting to give you unsolicited advice that you definitely didn't ask for, and you're probably actually lifting heavier than them with better technique. How do you teach them to be comfortable with being in that space and owning their space?
So I think part of it comes down to just having a plan in place. One thing that I always have with my training programs is demo videos with everything. So if someone's particularly worried about going into the gym, I always get them to watch through everything before they go in. So they're not just going in blind, like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And quite often it will come down to exercise selection as well. So obviously starting them off on machines where they don't have to be like in front of everyone on a platform or whatever. I'm sure you've done this yourself with clients as well, just getting them comfortable with being in that environment, and then realizing that you can actually talk. All these big people lifting weights are not actually scary half the time.
They're absolutely not.
You can talk to people, and yeah, I'm always there as a sounding board, as a coach as well, if they are feeling a type of way about being in there. So it's a process, I think, just doing it and then realizing it's not as scary as you actually thought it was.
And to be fair, the ones that usually are knobs are too busy looking at themselves to even worry about. The thing that I love about my gym is we've got a camera in the strength gym, because we've got 3 gyms in my gym. So we don't always have an instructor in the strength gym, and we've got a camera. And my favorite thing to do is sit in the office and watch that camera. And some of the foolish, I shouldn't say this on here because then they're all going to clock on to what we do. But some of the foolishness you see, honestly, it's comedy gold. I could send half of it into You've Been Framed. And I wish I could just take that CCTV and show women and be like, look, honestly, just look at what they're doing. Yeah. These are not the people that you need to worry about. They're definitely not. What other advice would you give women walking? I say women specifically because I think we find it harder. That's not to say that men don't, but I think generally speaking, women find it harder. So you said about obviously making sure you put a plan together, making sure you know exactly what you're doing. What other advice would you give women that are walking into that space?
Just to own it. I mean, thankfully now, I think it's so much nicer walking into a gym because there are so many more women. I think it's not as intimidating as it was because, people are there, even if we think they're not walking into a gym. But I just think own it. I mean, literally no one is judging you when you go into the gym. Everyone's wrapped up in what they're doing themselves. Like they really don't care. So just go and do your thing. And to be honest, I think if anyone cared, then they're just a knob, like you said. So
an absolute knob.
Shadow boxing in the corner.
Oh, and again with awful technique. Let me not gym shame. But unfortunately, these are the people that usually love to come and give unsolicited advice.
Yeah, 100%.
And what I would say to anyone is, if someone is coming and giving you unsolicited advice, just be polite and just be like, it's fine, I've got a coach, I know what I'm doing. Again, even that can be intimidating, isn't it, sometimes, just to tell someone basically to go away. And I hate that we have to even still deal with this. I think another bit of advice that I always... No, sorry, go.
It still happens to me now, sorry. Like, I still get people come up to me all the time and I'm just like, okay, cool, thanks.
Have you seen my technique? Go away. Let's have a hip thrust competition.
I'm more than happy to accept advice if I think it's like genuinely helpful, but half the time it isn't. So
it absolutely. God, it's a giant thing. The other thing I was going to say as well is, I know this sounds so superficial, and I hate that I'm even saying it out loud. Get a good gym outfit. If I'm wearing a terrible outfit in the gym, it can literally ruin my workout. If I put the wrong trainers with an outfit, honestly, I'll be there. I was like, what have I done? I've ruined this entire workout. And should I tell you what I love? But again, I'm going to say this especially with my women clients, is I know when they're gaining confidence in the gym. Because when I first start training female clients, they always come in like baggy t-shirts. They're trying to hide everything. Dressed head to foot in black. Half the time, one of my clients is going to laugh. She listens to this because for ages she kept wearing her husband's t-shirts. And once I trained her for a few months, I'm like, why are you wearing your husband's t-shirt every time? I was like, and it's because she had a bigger chest. I was like, you realize it makes your chest look bigger, right? Because it's just hanging off.
Yeah.
And I was like, go and buy some nice gym clothes. And what I love with my female clients specifically is that I can see when they're gaining confidence in the gym because the color starts to creep into their outfits.
Yeah.
And then the fit starts to change. And all of a sudden their trainers are color coordinated with their top. And all of a sudden they've got a cute little gym bag with them. And I love to see the confidence grow. Like, I'm absolutely here for it. I'm here for it.
I know,
But talking about
my clients over the summer when they'll suddenly be like, I wore shorts today, or like, I wore a sports bra and not a t-shirt. I was like, yes.
And it's ridiculous, but those are things you get excited about. And it's not even, it's what it represents. It's the fact that you're like, oh my God, their confidence is growing. Yeah. Obviously, I love to see that they're hitting their aesthetic goals. I love to see it, but I know personally, I don't like to, and I think I've said this before, I don't like to attach their progression to their aesthetics. Because if one day, especially with women, again, and this will go for men as well, water weight. You can get one day where you're carrying water weight. And all of a sudden, or the scales have gone up because, again, water weight. And then all of a sudden, you've now, all that progression that you've now made, the fact that you were confident enough to go and buy those shorts, the fact that you were confident enough to go and step in that strength gym, the fact that you're now deadlifting more than your body weight has gone out the window because you stepped on a set of scales.
Yeah, exactly. I hate scales for that reason. I really do. I mean, I use them as a coach just because they're easy for someone to do, and it's kind of it's an indicator of progression, but it is not progression. Like, there are so many reasons, especially as a woman and a guy, why the scales will go like this. And you just can't attach your progress and how you feel to what it says on the scales. It's so irrelevant. I
literally had a client, she went down a clothes size. She's like, but the scales say this, because their weight would go up on the scales. Like, but you literally just told me you got into your size 10 jeans. What are you talking about? But the scales say this. I'm like, but you just got into your size 10 jeans. Stop attaching your progression to this number that is literally, it's weighing your body weight, it's weighing your fat, it's weighing your water, it's weighing your bones, it's weighing whatever fluid you've built up in your joints, it's weighing your food. It's no indication of if you've lost fat or not. But nor should your progression be attached to your fat or not. And it does, excuse me, it really does, it makes me sad. Because for me personally, again, I don't know. And this is what I was going to ask you about. I don't know if it's a good idea. What I do is, again, with some of my clients, I get women clients specifically, I get them to weigh themselves after their menstrual cycle. So on the last day of their menstrual cycle, I get them to weigh themselves for 7 days then, if they want to weigh themselves. Generally speaking, I say just go by clothing. Weigh yourselves for 7 days and then average it out, because you'll see it's going to change every single bloody day. But I say to them, get an item of clothing that fits you, but it's just a little bit too tight. Hang it up somewhere. That's going to be your motivation every day. And I want you to get a picture of when you felt amazing. Because I find that if you attach that emotional with a picture, when you felt good and you remember how you felt in that picture, because it was a good time in your life, you're on holiday or something, you know what, I was having a sick time. You're more likely to remember and have that emotional attachment to then your progression than you are this physical number.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really nice thing to do. I like that.
Yeah, I like the picture. Someone actually told me that, because you will always get them coming to you like, oh, I want to look like this person. I'm like, but you're not ever going to be that person. And again, this is where I think socials can come in, where they start to idolize. Do you struggle with that? Do you struggle with people idolizing you? Because you're in incredible shape. But I don't like to focus on that with you, because you are so intelligent, which is why I've said that a million times. You're so intelligent. You create incredible content in terms of what you give to people, in terms of nutritional knowledge and training knowledge. But you are a beautiful woman as well. We're not going to take away from it. So do you find it sometimes you can get people that attach themselves to that side of you, and do you struggle with that at all?
Do you know what? No, I don't get that so much now. I think the nice thing about people that I think do find my Instagram, I hope it does come across like this, is that they just want the mindset towards it, which I think
totally
is really,
get that from
really
you.
Nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people go through almost like a process with it, and I've been through it myself, where it's like, oh, I want to be lean, I want to look like this person, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and then they come out the back of it and then think, I just want to be happy and enjoy my life and train and that, and that's kind of the people I think I get filtered through towards me, and it's really nice.
She's like, thank the Lord.
I know, it's so nice. But seeing people that were in restrictive mindsets get more confident, as you just said, and you know, you sort of feel them like letting go, and it's such a nice process to see as a client. And obviously, when I say letting go, it's not like they're losing or they're backtracking on their goals. They're progressing every single week, but they're just so much happier. And I think that's such a nice thing to see.
As a coach, that is the best thing to see. Like the best thing when they've gone somewhere and they've felt good, and like you said, they've been able to go out for a meal and there's zero guilt attached. They've just been able to go out and enjoy themselves, and they've come back and they're like, I don't feel bad about that. I had a whole baguette the other day and I don't feel bad about it. I'm not going to go in and pound the treadmill the next day because I had that one thing.
Exactly.
It's one sandwich. It's one chocolate bar. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So going back to social media stuff, do you get a lot of trolls and stuff like that? Because you're influential. You're influential, so that must come with its. Do you get trolls and stuff like that?
It's mixed, I think. Instagram, like, thankfully, 95% of people are absolutely lovely.
We love this.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. But there's always people. I was just saying that there's always people.
There's always a keyboard warrior, and not give them your energy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what to do with these people's comments. Sometimes I'm just like, wow.
I like to talk about these things because I'm hoping that at some point we're going to get a large demographic of people that will listen to this, and they'll come back and they can again, I like to talk about it just because I feel like, because you are an influencer as well, so it's just so ingrained in society these days that you cannot escape it. So I can like it because you get all the good stuff, which is fantastic. But for some people, it just must be, especially younger people, it must be awful. Just constantly
Do you know
dealing
what
with that.
That annoys me the most about Instagram trolls? Like, I know that I can brush it off and just be like, what a dickhead. But the fact that that person is probably going to do it to some younger girl that doesn't have the confidence, and that would really get to her, that is the thing that makes me go like, oh, honestly, fuming.
And the thing is, it's easy for us to say, oh, don't worry about it, just ignore it. But it's really, it's not that easy. It's really not. It's not
at all. And I know that if they did that to me when I was 16, 17, that would have ruined me.
How old are you?
I'm 25 now.
Oh, so you would have had, did you have social media when you were in school then?
Only like MySpace back in the day.
When the worst thing was who's going to be in my top 9. And someone used to get peed off at you because you dropped them down somewhere else. Like, I'm sorry. You just didn't make the top 9. I apologise. I miss those days, those simpler days.
I know. They were better in a lot of ways.
You used to update what music you were listening to and stuff. Oh, that was good times. That and MSN.
Yeah.
I miss those days. I feel
MSN.
sorry for people that didn't have Bebo and MySpace and...
Yeah.
Because I was lucky. I didn't grow up with any social media. Like, I think social media hit probably when I was... I don't even know if it was particularly there when I was in college. When I was in school, there was something called FacePic, where like I don't even know that anyone would even remember it. Where you could literally have 9 pictures up, no more than 9 pictures. You couldn't see your sent items. You could only send like a handful of messages a day. If you wanted to see your sent items, you had to like upgrade for like £3. It was outrageous. So that's what we had. You couldn't even. It was simpler times, and I enjoyed it. So I do feel sorry for the younger generation these days. Also, something I got off is that you're a singer.
Oh no, we're not going there.
Absolutely, we are, because you're a good singer.
God.
Was that never a career path that you were like, I might try this? Let me jump on X Factor for a second.
Oh God.
No, why are you cringing? You're so good. Because the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because it's like an outlet. Because again, we don't want fitness to be be all and end all.
Exactly. No, you're right. I used to do it so much more than I do now, though, I must admit. I did it a lot in school growing up, and then everything else took over. And then when I went to uni, I didn't do it so much. And now at this point, I just sing in the shower, and that's fine.
Sing in the shower, sing for my peoples. That's about it. Are you one of those casual ones? All of a sudden you'll be somewhere and you'll be hitting them notes like, and someone will be like, you sing? You'll be like, me? Never. What, me, singer? No. And you're there in the background just... I'd absolutely be that person if I could sing. I hate singing in front of
people. I absolutely hate it. Like,
oh, but honestly, you should do it more often. You're so good. Mate, I'd be singing all the time if I could do that.
Oh, well, thanks. I don't know. I think maybe I'll start it again one day, but not now.
Was there any other career path that you would have done apart from being a trainer?
I always thought I'd do music. I went live and I was obviously really young back then. So when I was in school, I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to a music college and doing this, that, and the other. Everything just flipped on its head when I got into fitness, really. And then, I just ended up going down that route instead.
I mean, I'm sure you're glad you did it. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about, sorry, I'm going into real basic B. I'm trying not to swear anymore because I'm really bad at swearing. Basic B stuff is I've got 2 cats which actually adore. And I've seen, again, Dave. We love Dave. Dave and his top knot. Can you tell everyone who Dave is, please? Dave is not her boyfriend.
Oh, no, Dave's not my boyfriend.
I love that he's called Dave as well.
He's a 10-month-old Cocker Spaniel, and he is a legend. He's only got about 2 brain cells, but he's very cute.
Has he been like a game changer? Because I know, again, anytime I've had animals, it's just simpler times again. You get out for walks and stuff like that. It's just, I love it.
He's just, he's crazy. He never fails to make me laugh every single day by doing something stupid, which I just love about him.
Oh, bless him. And also, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, paracetamol gate.
Oh, yeah, no. So this year,
what happened?
I've become allergic to paracetamol.
But you never have been before?
No. So I didn't know that was a thing until May
2021. God.
Yeah, May 2021. I took some paracetamol and went into anaphylactic shock. This was in May, so in May I got rushed off to hospital on the back of an ambulance half an hour after having woken up in the morning, which was very dramatic. And then, I accidentally did it to myself again a few weeks ago. It was bad. It was really bad. I was really hungover. So I woke up in the morning. I was like, I was starting to feel a bit under the weather. So I was like, I'll just take, the day nurse tablets. I was like, just grab a couple. I didn't think.
Yeah.
Face blew up again. I was like, oh, God's sake.
Well, it looked like you had fillers. You see when people get like really bad fillers?
Really bad, like really bad.
Was it painful?
Yeah, so, well, not like really painful, but it was like tight. It's frustrating because it takes like 3-4 days to go back to normal. And I was like, I can't leave the house. I just look ridiculous.
It was an Instagram filter. You see the Instagram filter where you obviously didn't actually look like that, but it's more from the filler side. I can't remember what it's bloody called. But it's like, it's got like really bad eyebrows. You didn't have bad eyebrows. You had fantastic eyebrows. But it was
the only thing I had going for me.
But it was like full on. I was just like, no, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
The whole face.
Good time.
But what the hell are you going to do now if you need painkillers?
So I think I can have ibuprofen, but I'm a bit scared to take it because it's like apparently the same or a similar mechanism in your body. So it could just, I don't know. It's all a bit new to me.
It's all a bit up in the air. I don't know what to do about it. That is awful. Sorry, they were just some really trivial stuff that I wanted to discuss. I was looking and I was like, what has happened?
It's so funny. The amount of people that replied to that Instagram. I just found it really funny. That's the thing. It was scary, but it was really funny. So I was kind of like posting it on Instagram or Instagram story, like, hey, look at my face. But then also sort of thinking, oh, shit. This isn't really good, is it?
But again, I loved that you shared every part of it because some people are literally only going to share their best parts. So you were there like swiping onto the camera, guys. So this has happened to me. Oh, honestly, I felt so bad for you, but at the same time, you're right, it was. But it was really like funny. Perfectly symmetrical as well. It was fantastic. Even if it was stretched out and it hurt.
Yeah, it did hurt. It was my eyes. I couldn't see anything because the only slit that was left in my eyes was just watering like crazy. So it just looked like I was crying. But I just couldn't see anything, which was very annoying because I was supposed to do client check-ins that day and I couldn't look at my laptop screen. I was just like, help. Yeah, very, very unhelpful.
Let me come on the gram so people actually understand what is going on with this situation and they don't think I'm just faking it. But no, I loved that you shared that side of it as well because it was just all so genuine. I was absolutely here for it. I feel like we've discussed a lot today. I love this. Is there anything that we haven't discussed, like any projects that you have coming up or anything that you've got in the pipe work that everyone absolutely needs to know about?
I suppose the only thing is going to be the thing we spoke about earlier, the New Year photo shoot challenge, which is the next thing in the pipeline. At the moment, I'm doing an 8-week little black dress program on the run up to Christmas, so that's already started. So the next big exciting thing is going to be the photo shoot challenge, which I'm actually really excited about. So
what does like the little black dress challenge entail? So obviously I'm assuming you're going to do more of these in the future. So for anyone that's listening that wants to get involved, what does it entail?
So the little black dress program is an 8-week program that a bunch of girls have got involved in. It's really nice because they're all on a Facebook group together. So everyone can kind of like bounce off each other for the 8 weeks. It's just like whatever your goals are, I will help you specifically over the 8 weeks to get to that goal. So hopefully by Christmas, you'll be able to go to that office party. You'll be able to go to wherever you're going in your dress and feel amazing. That's basically
since we're actually allowed out this year. So everyone needs to be doing the absolute most this Christmas.
Exactly.
Wear all the little LBDs that you can because we were not allowed out last year. We got sabotaged.
Got to make the most. Yeah,
absolutely. So a question that we ask everyone that comes on the podcast is what advice can you offer the listeners to maximize their wellness?
Oh, that's such a broad question. I don't know.
But it can literally be anything.
Okay, let me think.
Take all the time. We can get Bruno to edit the little gap. Absolutely fine.
I really can't think. What can I do to maximize my wellness? I want to say something that's like a bit random, but whatever you enjoy doing, just make sure that you actually take the time to do it. Because I know it's so easy to just get wrapped up in like life in general.
Yeah.
Even if it's taking like 20 minutes a day just to do that thing that you really enjoy doing, it just makes you feel so much better.
It's finding joy in the small moments.
Exactly. Yeah.
Giving Dave a top
So
knot
make
and
time,
taking him
even if
for a
you don't
walk.
feel like you have time. Yeah.
Love that.
Dave.
Is that your moment now of the day?
That is my moment of the day. He's been absolutely hilarious today. So long may it continue into the evening.
So where can people find you on the socials? Is there a website? Facebook?
So best place to find me is on Instagram. That is where I'm most active. So it's at Philly_Fleming.
So that's Philly with 2 L's, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And 1 M in Fleming, just to be confusing, because everyone always gets that wrong.
I definitely would have put in 2 M's. We'll put it underneath here anyway. Is there a website, Facebook groups? Just best place, go to Instagram and then get filtered out.
Yeah, so all the Facebook groups are private for the different coach groups I've got going. So best place is Instagram. I'm fully accessible on there.
I actually thought you said I'm fully accessible on there, and I was just like, that was a good pun. And then I realised you said fully. I was like, Hannah, calm down.
Can I backtrack? Say it again.
Wait, we can edit it out. Say it again. Where? Say it one more time, just for the listeners.
I can't. I'm done.
We've come up with your new tagline. Well, I'm fully accessible.
Oh, speaking of Dave, he's just come into the room.
Oh, can we all see Dave, please?
He's gone. Dave, come back.
Dave. Honestly, I'm so obsessed with other people's animals. It's absolutely sickening. I talk about my cats like they're my children, and I'm like, oh, Hannah, I can't believe I've become that person. I got into my 30s and I became the cat woman. Oh, and I hate myself for it, but it happens.
It happens. It does happen. I'm that person with Dave now. I've got to be careful of the amount of Instagram stories I post of him a day.
No, absolutely not. Keep posting them.
Crazy woman.
Like we said, it's about balance. It's about balance, and it's okay. Anyway, on that note, because Dave is obviously trying to come find you, he's like, look, where's my food? I will let you enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your knowledge with us. I really, really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me.
He's here.
Come here, little man.
Come, Dave.
Oh, he's literally so sassy at the moment. Come here. Oh, Dave, say goodbye. Oh, God. He was.
Yes, Dave. We love him.
Here he is.
He's so cute.
Oh, be here right now.
Is it? Should I take me for a walk? Get out. I feel like Dave's our cue to finish up. We love him for it. But have a fantastic evening. We're going to put all your socials in so people can come and follow you. And again, please, everyone go and follow, because honestly, the content is on just again through my stalking. The content is so good. And there's so much knowledge on there, and it's just not useless. It's stuff that you can actually apply, and I love it. So definitely, please, everyone, go and follow. And yeah, have a fantastic evening.
Thanks.
Hopefully one day we can get you on for a round 2 when you've done all the photo shoots and stuff like that. Yeah, FYI, I'm definitely coming to join you on that one. Now you've done this, I need to come on. We're going to make it happen.
Love that. Let's do it.
Yay! So have a good evening. I'll see you soon. See you on the socials and all that. Continue stalking.
See you soon.
Bye.
Oh, love that. Bye.